Hello everyone, I'm Vanguard and today we're going to take a look at the VSS Vintorez, the one that I own and that I've used during our latest photo set, the one of July 2018. So many people have asked many questions about this rifle and I'm going to answer some of them. So the most asked question about this gun is whether this is a real gun or an airsoft replica. And my answer is, of course, this is an airsoft replica, mostly because I do not own a gun license and also because the VSS Vintorez is an extremely hard to find rifle. Even in Russia, it is used mostly, almost exclusively by the Russian special forces, even though there are rumors that this gun is coming to the civilian market, at least in Russia. But of course, here in Europe, you can only find the airsoft version. Also, as I said, this is an airsoft version and it is made by King Arms. There are many companies which make this copy, a copy of the VSS Vintorez as an airsoft gun. And I chose the King Arms replica because it is a good compromise between price and quality. It is pretty nice, even though there are some minor problems with the aesthetics, like the stock. The stock is made of real wood, of course, but the proportions are not perfect because the stock is too thick compared to the real gun. The wood is too thick and the color is not exactly the same, it's a bit too dark. But still it is not a problem because the rest of the gun is very nicely made. So as I said, the stock is made of wood and except for the thickness, it's okay. Now we move on to the receiver, which is made of aluminum, and well, it is a interesting choice of material because other companies use steel, but King Arms chose to use aluminum, mostly because it is easier to work with and also because it is lighter. So it is made of aluminum. It's not as strong as steel, but still it's strong enough for the purposes of an airsoft replica. Now if we move on, we have the hand grip, which is made of polymer as the real gun, so nothing wrong with this. Then we have the magazine. This is the 10-round magazine, which is a pretty recent addition to the King Arms selection of magazine, because the original magazine for this gun is this one, which of course is made of polymer as well, but as you see it is much longer. So this is a 20-round magazine, at least comparing to the real counterpart, the real life counterpart. Of course this one is for BBs. You put the BBs in here, and well, I've covered here, but there is a wheel which you roll in order to put to let the BBs come out of the magazine. So this is the original magazine, but since this is a sniper rifle, you generally use a smaller magazine. So they came up with this smaller magazine, which is perfect because it is, as I said, perfect for a sniper rifle. So it looks perfect, it looks great. Now moving on, as I said, we have the receiver made of aluminum, the magazine made out of polymer, the end grip made out of polymer, and the barrel, which in real life is a suppressor, but of course with an airsoft gun there is no need for a suppressor. This one is made of steel. So you have a mix of materials, but it is still pretty good. So let's look at the features on the front of the gun. So here we have the fire safety switch. So in this position here is on the safety, and if I move it down you can shoot. So now it is in the fire position, and you can choose the type of firing mode with this lever here inside the trigger well. So this, as you can see, this is a white dot which indicates that it is going to shoot a single round. So it is in the single mode. But if you move it on the other side, so this is the single mode, if you move it on the other side it goes and you select on the full automatic mode. Well, there are no other main features on this side of the weapon, so now we're going to turn it around. And now we see, first of all, the rail attachment for the Pso-1 scope. So this one uses the typical Soviet-Russian rail system. This does not use the Picatinny system because it is not a NATO weapon, but it is a Russian weapon. And here you can see that I have attached my Pso-1 scope. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Then you'll find the two attachments for the sling, for the carry sling. So we have the first one here on the handguard, on the hand grip, and then here on the back of the weapon there is the second attachment for the sling. I do not use it. I do not use this one. I prefer attaching the sling on this main part of the stock because I find it more comfortable, at least when I carry it around. But of course, this is a personal choice. And also here there is the magazine release. So if you press it, the magazine comes loose, and you can change it and put it on. It works exactly as an AK, AK-47, AKM, AK-74, all those weapons. Now let's talk about the Pso-1 scope. As you can see, it is attached here on the main on the receiver of the gun, and well, this particular Pso-1 is a replica. It is a Chinese replica because, of course, a real Pso-1 costs a lot of money, even if it is used. So I chose the copy, the Chinese copy, because it is pretty much the same and it costs much less. Now we're going to remove it to take a look at it. As you can see, there is a lever here. You open it and you slide the optic back. So as you can see, this is the front part of the optic. Here is a plug to protect the optic. This is the end part. This is the front part. As you can see here, we have a rubber eye protection. So all of this is rubber. As you can see, I can just squeeze it. So it protects the eye of the wearer from the recoil. And if you can see, it's not easy, but as you can see, there is the typical reticle, which you can recognize from the S.T.A.L.K.E.R games and many other games. So this is pretty much as a real Pso-1. And on the other side, we have the adjustments for, well, don't ask me the name, probably windage and elevation, if I'm correct. It should be windage and it should be elevation, but don't quote me on that. Here you can see the slot for the LED light, which is a red light. So, maybe it is not LED, but it is a light bulb. In here, if you unscrew this, you can fit a battery inside, and with that you can use the switch. So you switch it on, and well, the reticle becomes red and it lights up. So it is used when there isn't a lot of light in the room. And here you can see the attachment mechanism to the rail. I had to modify it. I had to grind it down because I had problem with the clearance and the in order to slide it with this particular rail system. So I mean, generally it is something that you do, especially with airsoft rifles, because they are not made perfectly and they sometimes vary between them, so you have to make some adjustments. So we talked about the rifle, we talked about the scope, and well, this sling is an original AK sling, so it is a nice addition. Now let's talk about this pouch. This one is an AK-74 magazine pouch, so it comes from the Soviet times. This one is made of canvas, so it is all made with natural materials. It is original, of course. It comes from a used market. Some might wonder why I'm using an AK-74 pouch for a sniper rifle like the VSS Vintorez. Well, I'm going to show you with this image of a original instructional poster that this type of pouch is the right type of pouch for the VSS Vintorez, because if you use 20 round magazine like this one, they fit inside perfectly. So if you take a look on the inside, I take the 20 round magazine and it goes in perfectly. And if you want to put in the 10 round magazine, so the smaller, you can also do that. It goes in without any problem. So this one is another interesting addition to the overall kit of the VSS Vintorez. I'm very happy with this pouch. Very nice, very strong, very useful. And lastly, we're going to take a look at these two boxes, ammo boxes, which I made by myself. So these one are handcrafted. These one are the typical ammo boxes that you find in S.T.A.L.K.E.R, in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R games. This one is for the SP6 rounds, so the armor penetrating rounds. So these are very high end. And then you also have here the SP5 rounds, which are made for sniping, so they have less penetrating capabilities, but they are generally more accurate when you shoot them. Of course, it is empty, because, as I said, we only make costumes, we are not soldiers. This one is a recreation, as I said, it is handcrafted. And I really like them because they add a S.T.A.L.K.E.R flavor to the overall kit, because you can easily be mistaken for some random soldier, some random Russian soldier. But if you start to add some small details like this one, like the ammo boxes from the games, you can really show that you're thinking about the S.T.A.L.K.E.R universe in particular, and not only to the general militaria, Russian militaria. So I guess this is all. This is all I wanted to talk about the VSS Vintorez, which is probably my favorite gun, both in the games and to be used during our photo sets. Let us know what you think about this gun. I've seen that the general opinion on this gun is pretty positive. It is one of the favorite guns of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R community. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know, and thank you and see you soon.